What's going on, hockey fans? Welcome to another fun episode here of Isles Talk. My name is Paul Kreischer. I'm going to be your host this evening, and this is going to be something I'm a little more passionate about. We're going to be covering the draft just a little bit, and by doing so tonight, I'm going to briefly discuss the kids in the prospects, the kids in the Islanders system, some of them tonight. And then later on, about a half hour from now, we're going to go a little bit further into the expansion draft because there's a lot of people who are very, very confused about who's available, who's being claimed, so on and so forth. So we're going to use Cap Friendly as our resource for the expansion draft. So what I want you guys to do at some point, come up with another tab on your computer and pull up Cap Friendly, and then on one of the columns, you're going to see the Seattle expansion draft. Do that. Click on that. Find the Islanders, and then we'll be ready in about a half hour to go. So for those of you on Facebook, welcome. Share this as much as you like. Twitter, make sure you like this and retweet if you can. For those of you on YouTube, welcome. Make sure you like and subscribe to Isles Talk. And hi to you guys in the comment section. I know I'm going to get grilled at some point, so it wouldn't be an evening without you guys. So let's get into the juniors. Before I do that, I'm going to briefly talk about the 2021 draft. I have my players. They're more of a wish list than it is a mock draft. And I got to tell you, this has got to be the most difficult draft I have ever seen. And just so we know, I believe this was one of my first ones. And again, shout out to Gary Harding on this one. I used to go to plenty of Sound Tiger games. And through that, I hit a lot of American Hockey League games by me. I got to know a few scouts. I got to be friends with a few scouts in the American Hockey League and looking at other scouts looking at prospects. I have friends of scouts. And I also have friends who are like myself, a blogger who just enjoy covering the draft. So I'm not an expert, but you're getting the bare minimum, at least out of me. And the point of this show is to give you a general idea of what the Islanders have in their system and what you can look forward to not only in 2021, but a big one in 2022. So 2018 was a huge draft for the Islanders. It was the draft where Oliver Wahlstrom, Noah Dobson, Bodie Wild, these guys just literally fell into the Islanders' laps at the draft. We essentially got a potential first-line right winger, a franchise defenseman, and a hopefully top 4 defensemen in that draft. Those are huge building blocks. But what I have discovered recently is, and especially in this draft, is that I have seen the Islanders draft players to help complement some of these bigger building blocks. And this draft is going to be no different. And what do I mean by complementary players to help with the building blocks? Well, when you go back to 2008, 2009, you were drafting Josh Bailey, you were drafting John Tavares, you were drafting Travis Hamonic, you were drafting Calvin DeHaan, you were drafting Anders Lee, although we didn't know it at the time. Those guys were building blocks. What was happening later on in the lower rounds in the draft, and a couple of years after that, you started drafting players like Casey Cizikas, Matt Martin, Aaron Ness, Matt Donovan, Alan Quine, Shane Prince. These are the guys that complement the big boys. And I feel that this is exactly what Lou has done in 2019, what he did last year, and especially this year. You're going to get a lot of complementary players in this draft. But what makes this draft so difficult, first off, let's backtrack. This is not going to be a horrible draft, not in the least. If anyone has told you that this draft is horrible, what's up, guys? If this draft is horrible, it's one of the worst they've seen, I'm going to respectfully disagree. It's not so much that this draft is horrible. There are a ton of younger players. And what I mean by younger players, I mean some of these kids, a lot of these kids turned 18 after January. Okay, it happens, but not as often. Yes, trade was available. Yes, Prince was available through a trade, but you understand where I'm going, where he was a complimentary player. So there's a lot of young kids in this draft. Okay. They don't have to produce anytime soon. They can come in whenever they're ready. And this is a draft where the kids' development, you're probably looking at 3 to 5 years. But when they're ready, you're going to see your Shane Princes, your Alan Quines, your Matt Donovans, your Aaron Nesses, okay? You're going to see these guys. And some of them are going to be better than that. Let's get that out of the way. They're going to be better, okay? But what did Alan Quine do? Overtime goal against Tampa Bay. Shane Prince was part of that Tampa Bay and that 2016 run, right? Matt Donovan. What's he going to be remembered for? Going up against, he was paired with Griffin Reinhart. Help me out, boys. Was that 2015 against the Washington Capitals? Game 7. And they lost 1-0. Okay. Aaron Ness turned out to be the captain of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, and he's been a call-up ever since. But you understand where I'm coming from now. Okay. Yes, they're stocking up the farm. So the best part, and this is why I think Tampa Bay and Montreal have a boatload of picks, not only this year and next year. A lot of these kids who really didn't get a chance to play, they're all going to be available for next year's draft. So 2021, you're looking at your diamonds in the rough. But 2022, these 19-year-olds are going to be in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks. 2022 is going to be full. Not full, full. Okay, if you're an expansion team like Seattle, if you're a team like Detroit, I may throw Ottawa in there. Next year, you're going to want to draft these kids. Because now next year, you're not looking at a 3 to 5 year plan. You're pretty much looking at 1 to 3, 2 to 4, depending on where you're drafting. The talent level, in this case, the talent level will be better in terms of development. They may not need as much time. But if you're drafting very early 19-year-olds, that's going to help your franchise. And that's what I'm seeing this year. I'm seeing a lot of very young 18-year-olds, and I'm going to see a lot of 19-year-olds next year. 2022 is going to be a phenomenal draft for any franchise. You want to rebuild? That next year should be the year you want to rebuild. So having said that, let's get into it real quick. We're going to go over some of the junior players, the college players, and then at around 7:30, we're going to go into a little more depth into the expansion draft through water cooler talk. And I'm literally going to show you guys why I've been saying what I've been saying with certain players. And we're going to do that on Cap Friendly. So for those of you just showing up, welcome, but make sure you have Cap Friendly on with you. And I'll be putting it on here on the screen. And we're going to do the expansion draft. So we're all going to do it together so that way we know who's available and who's not available. So here we go. Starting off with the Islanders prospects, we're looking at the junior level. And I'm going to start off with the big boy himself, Henrik Tikkanen. He's a 20-year-old goalie right out of Kalpa at this point, the Finnish league. He's 20 years old. He's a beast. 6'8", 201 pounds, and he's a backup goalie. Now, one thing I do want to see, I normally don't count games during the regular season because their coaches may be doing something with them specifically. The Islanders may be doing something with them specifically. So I normally don't count the regular season. What do I count in my little point system that I've developed over the years? I want to see them in the playoffs. I want to see them at the World Junior Championships. I want to see how quickly these younger players go from draft pick to professional, playing in the professional leagues, not in their junior leagues. I want to see them playing in their professional leagues as soon as possible. The more professional games they play, the higher their stock goes up. Okay. Henrik Tikkanen basically played 19 games in the Finnish league, no juniors whatsoever, but he's 20 years old. That's expected. Okay, that's expected to happen. He had a goals against average of 2.77. The only thing with Tikkanen right now is that he's going to be a backup. He's going to be a backup this coming season. I'm not sure about next season. But again, for those of you who are older, and for you guys in the comment section, I'll leave it to you guys. Who is the only 6'8", 200-pounder that you guys remember in Islander history as a goalie? And if you don't know, I shouldn't help you. Some of you know. Anyone in the comments want to take a guess? Come on. Not Koskinen. Close, but not Koskinen. Koskinen was definitely not 6'8". Nope. Tikkanen's age is 20. Anybody remember Anders Nilsson? Shame on you guys. Shame on you guys. Anders Nilsson. And again, another thing about me, I don't look at the YouTube videos. I am actually sent actual games of these guys. Not so much this year due to COVID, but when I do get the chance, I am actually watching full videos of these players every once in a while. So Anders Nilsson, he's a big boy. There's got to be something that the Islanders are looking into with him. If they can work on his butterfly game, bravo. But I would expect Tikkanen to probably be in the Finnish league probably for the next 2 seasons, and then he'll probably get that call up to Bridgeport. But we'll see what happens after that. But for now, boy, flattery. Well played. But no, maybe 2 years and he comes over. No guarantees or whatnot. I will say this. I do have a goalie I'm hoping the Islanders pick in this year's draft. So if there are any needs for the Islanders, it's still a center, preferably to eventually replace Brock Nelson, and another goalie, because I'm not too sure about Jakob Skarek just yet, but we'll get to Jakob Skarek when we get into Bridgeport. All right, the other players now. Alexander Ljungqvist, drafted in 2020, last year. In the 3rd round, he plays both wings. He's 19 years of age still 19. 6'1", 185. He just got promoted from the junior leagues to Brynäs of the Swedish Hockey League. Now, for those of you who may not know about the Swedish Hockey League, there are going to be some that tell you, oh, I stand corrected. Koskinen was 6'7". I stand corrected. Thank you, Greg. All right, good. Well, you know what, though? I will still put Tikkanen in the mold of Nilsson, because I think at this point, Koskinen was rushed in his development. Tikkanen will not be rushed. So let's go with Nilsson for now. But kudos to you guys on that. Koskinen at 6'7". Good. Back to Ljungqvist. The kid, for his age, did very well against players his own age. He racked up 8 goals and 15 points in 16 games. But when he went up to the professional league, he basically disappeared. But that's normal. You're asking a 19-year-old to go up and play against men. That's normal. He's got that adjustment. He was on the verge, or if not, he did play in the World Junior Championships for Sweden, and that's a big one. That's a huge one. That's a huge plus for me because in my humble opinion, the closest thing these kids are going to get to the NHL is the World Junior Championships or the World Championships at the end of the season, depending on their schedule. And if there is a player that Ljungqvist reminds me of, it's Sean Bergenheim. Sean Bergenheim for the Islanders in the early 2000s did everything but score goals. That's where Ljungqvist is right now. When he's playing against kids his own age, he rips them. When he's going up against adults, no show. But that's normal. That's absolutely normal. So I'm going to go for right now. I can see Ljungqvist staying in the Swedish Hockey League for about 2 more years, then maybe getting a 3-year deal. Oh, getting back to the Swedish Hockey League real quick. A lot of scouts and people in general who follow the younger kids, they still feel that the Swedish Hockey League is the closest thing to the NHL. So he's in a good league. He's going to get some good development time. I still think he's got to put on some weight, but he's only 19. We'll see where it goes from there. But Ljungqvist really does remind me of Sean Bergenheim. And, I love Bergie's energy. Bergie did everything but score for the Islanders until he went to Tampa Bay, and all of a sudden he turned into Bob Nystrom in the playoffs. It was like Islander fans were like, "Where the hell was that? Why couldn't he do that for the Islanders?" So that's Bergenheim. That's Ljungqvist right now. That's all he reminds me of at this point. Moving on, William Dufour, another 2020 fifth-round pick, right winger, 6'3", 201 pounds. This boy's already built for the NHL out of Drummondville. He recently got traded to St. John's, and I forgot. I think it's Reynolds. Reynolds, I forgot his first name. Reynolds is a center, smaller size center for St. John's. He's in this year's draft. I believe they want to pair Reynolds and Dufour together. Reynolds is going to be like your American Hockey League version of Matthew Barzal. He's going to attract the players, but then dish it off. So I'm expecting Dufour's numbers to go up. But in 23 games, and again, going to the Canadian Hockey League, Ontario, Quebec Major Junior, Western Hockey League, these kids didn't play much, if not at all. So I'm not taking these numbers that heavily. I don't rely on the numbers that heavily during the regular season. But for your entertainment, the kid racked up 17 goals in 23 games for 29 points. Who does he remind me of at this point in time? I'm going to go someone like Kyle Okposo or Todd Bertuzzi. He's got that big frame. He can score the goals. The question that we're all going to try to figure out is, can he play the two-way game? Now, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, you do kind of learn defense there as well, but you got to buy into it. Dufour is into scoring goals. Will he be able to develop that two-way game? Now, Dufour is 19. I think he's going to get probably 1 more year in the queue, and I think he could be with with Bridgeport the following season. And I think he's going to be that next person who's going to replace Wahlstrom, at least in Bridgeport, whenever that happens. But again, we don't know how Canada's going to be health-wise. We don't know if they're going to start their games on time or whatnot. So don't put a lot of stock into Dufour just yet. Like what he's doing so far. And like I said, he reminds me of Kyle Okposo and Todd Bertuzzi. He's got that mold. I'm not saying that's his potential. That's just the mold I see, the style of game. And mind you, these kids these days, they're much faster than what these, the older guys used to be. So don't worry about their speed and whatnot. Don't take it literal, but that's just the mold I'm seeing. So the final junior player right now is Reese Newkirk, 2019 fifth-round centerman. He's 20 years of age, 5'11", 181 pounds. He played for the Portland Winterhawks, and I want to reiterate, I do not look at their stats before they were drafted. They don't count to me. I don't care what they did. If they get drafted by the Islanders, wonderful. They did their job beforehand. I only look at the games after they've been drafted by the Islanders. Okay, that's very important to remember. So after being drafted by the Islanders, Reese Newkirk actually played a lot of games, and not regular season. These are like playoff games, World Junior Championships, or whatnot. 79 games total played, 38 goals, 54 assists for 92 points. And he was a plus 17. And he was the assistant captain for Portland this year in the Western Hockey League. Now, if there's a player that Reese Newkirk reminds me of, at least in the mold, I'm going to go J.G. Pageau. Some have put down Casey Cizikas, and I'm okay with that, but he's got a little more snare. He's got a little more sandpaper, a little more grit to him. You know, don't fight Reese Newkirk. He'll like Pageau. Pageau will stick up for you. That's what I see out of Reese Newkirk. And I'm not saying his numbers are going to translate into the American Hockey League, but it's just the fact that a fifth rounder is going to Bridgeport, and he reminds me of J.G. Pageau. I'm excited about that just to watch him for like the next 3 years. So Reese did his job. He's in Bridgeport starting next year. So we go from there. You know, will he make the Islanders? I don't know. We'll find out. Should he? I'd like to see him. I would love to see Reese Newkirk at some point, you know, within the next 3 years, get into the playoffs, score a big winning goal, because then he's going to be an Islanders lore. He's going to be one of those guys that you're just going to fall in love with. So that's what I'm hoping for out of Reese Newkirk, and he's going to be there. So to be honest with you guys, I can honestly see Dufour and Newkirk, all three of these forwards in Bridgeport at some point. Newkirk's already there. I could see the other two probably making it. Tikkanen, goalies are such a weird beast. We know that. But we'll see what happens. So moving on. And that's it. That was it with the juniors. There's not a lot of juniors right now. Not a lot of Canadian junior hockey players right now for the Islanders. And that's very, very weird. College players. Again, I can see Lou going after some college players in this draft because we're starting to run out now. We're starting to run out on a couple of them. And I'm not sure if Lou's going to draft a junior player this year. Could be very much an under-the-radar pick because the junior players just didn't get to play a lot, if not at all. So maybe watch for that. But maybe drafting another college player or two might be in Lou's repertoire, because that would also go into the idea of developing these kids for another 3 to 5 years. So I'm going to go with some of these kids that probably are ECHL bound because they just finished up their senior season. But before I do that, I'm going to run off some former prospects who play college, and I'm going to just show you the difficulty of what it means to being a college draft pick, because we don't know what their potential is going to be, really. And you guys are going to laugh at some of these guys. Mark Hamway. Some of you have never heard of him before. 7th round pick back in 1980. He was a right winger. He played for Michigan State. The guy racked up 201 points in 156 games, 98 goals. He was a beast. Okay? He ended up playing for the Islanders in 86-87. That's it. That's as high as he went. Steve Stoyanovich, drafted in 1977, 4th round pick, centerman, played for RPI, 123 points in 73 games for RPI. Only made it to he won the Adams Cup in 82-83, but never made it to the Islanders. As a matter of fact, I don't think he played anywhere else, interestingly enough. Anders Lee, as we all know, 6th round pick, Isles captain. Okay. Colin Adams. Colin Adams is a recent graduate. Look out for this kid. He's going to be in Bridgeport. 6th round pick. left winger, 23 years of age, 5'9", 194. He's tough to knock off the puck, boys and girls, and brush. University of North Dakota, 77 points in 122 games. He is going to Bridgeport. Brock Nelson, North Dakota. We know what happened to him. Kyle Schemp, 2014 sixth-rounder, left wing. Ferris State, 66 points in 121 games. He ended up making it to Bridgeport. Pat Flatley. Pat Flatley, your captain. 60 points in 43 games for Wisconsin. Nick Pastujov is he's going to be my graduate. He's in one of my graduate categories this year. 2016 seventh-round pick out of the University of Michigan. He ended up playing for the East Coast Hockey League this year. Kyle Oposo, Minnesota, ended up playing for the Isles. And then here's one for you. Brian Perez, 2001 ninth-round draft pick, left winger, Michigan Tech, 44 points in 70 games, East Coast Hockey League. So there you go. Those are all, I think, most, if not all, of the former college players that the Islanders have drafted, and you don't know what you're going to get. So having said that, Logan Cockrell, 2017 seventh-round winger out of Boston University. I believe he just graduated. 47 points in 111 games. Who does he remind me of? John Sim. How many remember that name? Colin Adams is not from Ohio State. Colin Adams was from North Dakota. Get your info right. Okay. Logan Cockrell, in all honesty, is going to the East Coast Hockey League, if anywhere. Jake Pavanka. Now, Jake Pavanka is a different story. He's a 2018 fourth-round pick. He's a centerman. He's a junior this year, 5'11", 198 pounds out of Notre Dame. I was really hoping for a big season out of him this year, but with COVID, things just got messed up for all of these junior kids. 31 points in 109 games. He is your potential Casey Zizekas, Claude Lapointe, and Jeremy Colliton type of centerman. He's going to be your fourth liner. He does the penalty kill. He does a very good penalty kill. He's your fourth line centerman. Could I see him making the Islanders? Who knows? But if Jake Pavanka does indeed play his senior year at Notre Dame, I think Jake's just going to get a 2-year deal with Bridgeport, and we'll go from there. Other than that, I was really hoping for a bigger year from Jake Pavanka. And yes, good comment here from David Cutler. I like this one about Logan. Like Logan in the World Juniors a few years ago. Yes, I agree with that. He was very good, but nothing came after it after the World Juniors. So, Christian Kreisier, he's another soon-to-be senior out of Michigan State, 6'2", 187 pounds, left defenseman. He does not score the goals. He's not supposed to score the goals. He is your Adam Pelech. Don't put the expectation high on Kreisier. I was expecting another big season from him this year, and I'm expecting another big season from him this year. We'll see what happens, but he fits that mold of Adam Pelech. If he were to score a few more goals, he probably gets a Bridgeport contract right now. I think that's the only thing holding him back. The thing about Kreisier is that he has been so close to the World Junior Championships for Team USA, but he just misses the cut every time. So where does it put him? Could I see him going to Bridgeport? Maybe. You know, he does do a good job. He isn't on a great team. I will say that. I don't know what the future holds just yet for him. Ben Maragias, 2017 third-round pick, left defenseman, 6'1", 185 out of Providence. The numbers look a little bit better. 11 goals, 36 assists for 47 points in 133 games. And he's kind of reminding me of like a Bruno Gervais. For those of you who remember Bruno, that's the kind of player I'm thinking of when it's Ben. But again, he's graduating. I could probably, because of there's so much depth right now in Bridgeport, I'm probably going to say Ben gets a shot at the East Coast Hockey League. And I only because of the numbers game. I don't see Ben getting a shot yet. But the big one right now is, in fact, Alex Jeffries. Alex Jeffries, 2020 fourth round pick from last year, 19 years old, 6-footer, 194 pounds out of Merrimack, and that's Hockey East. And for those of you who don't know where Merrimack is, it's in Massachusetts. When you think of Hockey East, you're thinking Boston, UMass, your Boston College, your big Hockey East ones. Merrimack's been on the bottom for years. Yeah, Merrimack's been on the bottom, but this kid already won Hockey East Rookie of the Year. Okay, he's got 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points in 12 games. Okay, now I don't want to set the bar too high, but he's got to mold something similar to Thomas Vanek. Okay, so I'm liking DeFore, and I'm liking Alex Jeffries right now. Do we need them anytime soon? No, we don't. But if these kids get it together, they could be more than just supplemental players. But yeah, Alex Jeffries definitely reminds me of Thomas Vanek. I think Jeffries is going to spend maybe 2 more years in Merrimack, and then I think the Islanders are going to give him a 3-year deal. No, he's not as lazy. Good point, Cutler. He's not as lazy. That's, again, I agree with that. That's not where I'm going with him on that one. This kid's he's fast. He's speedy. His edge work is actually pretty good for his age. So there's something to like about Alex Jeffries in a few years from now. So those are your prospects from juniors to college. There's not much. Which is why I think you may see Lou go a little more on the college route this year. And if he goes the Ontario Hockey League, the Western Hockey League, or the Q, it's because it's an under-the-radar move. They saw the potential a year or 2 before, and we'll go from there. But they're a little thin now with college, with a couple of graduates. They're very thin with the juniors. We'll see where he does, because Lou's got that international flavor going. And I'm going to do that in my professional prospects when I include the Bridgeport Sound Tigers and all of the guys over in Europe. That'll be in another week or 2. So we're hitting into 7:30 right now. For those of you who have liked this show, I'm going to ask you guys to please like this video, especially on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you like it, share it as much as you can. This is where we're going to get into the real topic here, water cooler talk, and we're going to talk expansion draft. So for those of you who want to give other people a reference, share this video at least at this point in time, the 34-minute mark, because we're going to go over the expansion draft at this point. So what I'm going to do first is that we're going to explain the rules first and foremost. Okay, so this is from NHL.com right off the bat. The Kraken, let's put it to you this way. Current NHL teams can protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie. Or 8 skaters, 1 goalie under the following conditions. The Kraken also have the Kraken have an exclusive window from July 18th to the 21st to interview any UFAs. So, in other words, if the Islanders lose Casey Cizikas to the Seattle Kraken just by signing him, that's it. Expansion draft is done and over with. Okay? So Seattle can go to Casey Cizikas and be like, do you want to come? And if the money talks, if that's what Casey really wants, Casey's gone, and we're done with the expansion draft. Okay, so moving on now. All players with no movement clauses at the time, they don't have to go as long as but the players have to be protected. That's it. That's mandatory. We knew that. All first and second year professionals and all unsigned draft choices will be exempt from selection and will not be counted toward protection limits. Okay, very simple. That is your Oliver Wahlstrom, Ilya Sorokin. We're going to get all through that. Okay, anyone on that entry level contract, they're done for the most part. We knew this already. Entry level contract, I think from like 2017 on, Robin Salo, so on and so forth. So we knew that already. Now, here's where things get interesting. In addition, all NHL teams must meet the following minimum requirements regarding players exposed for selection in the draft. So, one defenseman who is under contract for 21-22, and B, played in at least 40 NHL games prior to the season or played in at least 70 games in the prior 2 seasons. So these guys have to have some kind of NHL games played. 2 forwards who are A, under contract in 2021-22, and B, played at least 40 games prior season or played in at least 70 games in the prior 2 seasons. And don't worry about the goalie. The goalie's real easy. Okay? But here's one little stipulation that we tend to forget. Okay? The Seattle Kraken, and I forget where it is, they have to draft. I'm sorry. They do. They have to draft at least 20 contracts. Okay? So what does that mean? They have to draft at least 20 players under contract. They could also draft 10 restricted free agents who meet the qualifications. 70 games in 2 years or 40 games this season. They're allowed to do that. Okay, so if you guys have your own little cap-friendly expansion draft here, let's get into it. Okay, as you can see, this is the Islanders. Okay, anyone with a check right here have met the requirements to be exposed in the expansion draft. Okay? All of these checks means that these players have been qualified or have met the requirements for the expansion draft according to Cap Friendly. Okay? Now, the reason why some of these are in green, some of these are in black is because look at this. Restricted free agent, black check. Anthony Beauvillier is a black check. Kyle Palmieri is a UFA. There's technically no contracts for these players. However, like we said, Seattle is allowed to take players without a contract. Okay, so for those of you worried about Kiefer Bellows, according to Cap Friendly, he doesn't meet the requirements. He's 13 games short. Otto Koivula is 27 games. Okay, Michael Dal Cole does meet the requirement because he's played over 70 games over the last 2 seasons. As a matter of fact, he's played over 100 games so far. So he's already here. Don't worry about Josh Hosang. Okay. So when people are saying Seattle's going to take Koivula, they're going to take Bellows, the Islanders are going to expose him, I start scratching my head, guys, because when I read something like this, it doesn't make sense. They're protected. And that's right, Brush. It's a great job by Lou protecting the players. Lou learned, I don't know if it was Lou or Garth, but NHL teams learned their lesson from Vegas. Vegas raped everybody. Let's just get that out of the way. Kudos to Vegas for getting what they wanted. Okay, and NHL teams learned their lesson this time. So, who are the Islanders actually exposing? Anyone with a check mark. All of these guys can be exposed. Now, who you guys, who did they not adjust this for COVID shortened seasons? You know what? I don't know. I'm going to assume yes, but that I'm going exactly with what Cap Friendly does here. You know, honestly, who's going to know better than Cap Friendly? That's all I got to go with it for right now. You know, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. So you guys can protect whoever you want to protect. That's up to you guys. If you want to expose Eberle, you want to expose Bailey, that's fine. Here's the thing, though. Okay, let's do this. Let's have a little fun. I am protecting Matthew Barzal. I'm protecting Anders Lee. I'm protecting Brock Nelson. I'm going to protect most of my centers here. JG Pageau, Barzal. I am going to protect Bailey for those of I just want to piss some of you off. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now have 5 protected. I need to protect 2 more. There's Anthony Beauvillier, because you have to remember, Seattle is allowed to take a restricted free agent. So I'm going to protect Beauvillier just to be on the safe side. And then number 6, I know some of you want to clear the cap space and whatnot, but just for the sake of this argument, Jordan Eberle could be protected, and poof, I'm done. So who am I leaving exposed? Clutterbuck, Cizikas, Komarov, Zajac, Palmieri, Matt Martin. Okay, all of these older guys. Those of you who are worried about the age of this group, they're gone. And in all honesty, don't worry about Andrew Ladd. He's probably not going to play for the Islanders anymore anyway. Don't count his age. Okay? But the rest of these players are all exposed. Maybe that's what they said about the core. Maybe they're talking about the identity line. Because let's be honest, the identity line was the core of the Islanders. Okay? So moving over to the defense, this is pretty simple, guys. I'm protecting Pulock. I'm protecting Pelech. And I'm protecting Mayfield. I'm exposing Nick Leddy. Okay? And then Varlamov, I'm protecting. And Ken Appleby is going to be the one that's going to be exposed in this expansion draft. So, again, you can expose and protect. I'm sorry, you can protect anybody you want. But when it comes to players like Bellows and Koivula, you know, I can't see them being exposed because according to Cap Friendly, they don't meet the exposure requirement. I think they're here and I think they're protected. So unless something changed and Cap Friendly didn't know about it, there we go. Other than that, this is where I've been getting my info from, guys. So, you know, not to start any arguments or whatnot, but I always try to have something, you know, with backup here for you guys, because I just don't want to blow Islanders fairy dust up your butts, because then I'm wasting your time and then I'm wasting my time, and I don't want to do that. Now, here's why I think, and it's just a guess, here's why I think Seattle is not going to take someone like Jordan Eberle. And this goes back to the draft. I think Seattle wants to be fluid. I don't think they want to be bogged down with contracts. I don't think Seattle is going to have that same luxury as Vegas did in the terms of winning now. They're going to get a few players, but who could they get in this draft that could probably fetch you a 4th, 5th, or 6th round pick in the 2022 draft? Okay, I can tell you right now, Uncle Leo probably gets you a 5th round pick in next year's draft. Cal Clutterbuck, if he's healthy, could get you a 5th-round pick in this draft. I don't know about Michael Dal Cole. I doubt it. I honestly think Seattle's going to go with the veteran presence. I think they're going to go with the veteran presence for now. They're going to bring everyone around. If they make the playoffs, wonderful. Someone like Uncle Leo and someone like Clutterbuck would benefit greatly for Seattle. And if not, you're going to have a team gearing up for the playoffs who are going to need grinders like Komarov and Clutterbuck. Plus, their contracts are done after this season. So they're clearing cap space, and they're going to get a 2022 pick in a lower round. And for those of you who just showed up, the 2022 draft is going to be full of potential draft picks because the kids are so young in this draft, 2021, that if they get passed by, they're not going to get passed by in 2022. Exactly. So there's my mentality, guys, as to why I think Seattle may take someone like Uncle Leo, like Cal Clutterbuck. That's just my thought. Now, why wouldn't Seattle take someone like Nick Leddy? That's a big cap hit. You want to stay fluid, right? He's a little bit on the older side, granted, but there's probably a few more defensemen out there, a little bit younger, a little bit cheaper, that can get you through this first year. So I don't know what's going to happen, but in terms of keeping the players like Bellows and Koivula, I think they're here. I just don't think they get qualified. They don't qualify, at least according to Cap Friendly. So there's that. Correct. It's correct, Matt. It's still just a year hit for Seattle, but they're crunching their own numbers. Maybe he's too expensive. I don't know. You're not going to get a precise answer from me. I know we're all desperate to clear cap space. Absolutely. I know where you guys are going with it. So, yeah, definitely, Kevin. Definitely. Sebastian Aho. Sebastian Aho did not qualify. Let me put that up real quick. Sebastian Aho, right here. Restricted free agent, 24 games remaining. 24 games required to meet the exposure requirement. So as of right now, Jim, I don't think so. So there's that. So we're down to about 10 minutes. I'll go 15, 20 minutes. I know you guys may or may not be watching the Stanley Cup Finals here. Now, if you are not an Islanders fan, you're an NHL fan, you're watching this, do the same thing with your team on Cap Friendly. Hit the expansion draft, figure out your teams, see who actually qualifies for the expansion draft, and then protect your players that way. Have fun with it. So, water cooler talk. Let's go with the rumors, questions, comments, concerns here. Have at it. Let's have some fun. What are you guys hearing? What do you think's going to happen? As long as it's, kid friendly, I'll post the comments up here. We'll have a little fun. So questions, comments, concerns, water cooler talk, hit me with anything you want. That's fine. I don't care how obscure it is. It's the summertime. Let's just talk hockey. That's fine. Oh, and I missed this whole thing. Crap. Let's do this. Okay. Ishkakov any good? All right, great question, Matthew. Yes, he is good. He's got speed. He does. It's his size. And Ishkakov, I'm going to talk maybe next week if I can talk professional, because he was in the college. He was in UConn, and he now moved overseas. So he's supposedly playing in the German league next season. I don't know if that's by design. I don't know if that's what the Islanders want him doing. I'm not sure, but he's like 5'8", 155, 160. The boy needs to put on some weight. So I think the speed is there. He's put up some decent numbers. His numbers as of right now on the international level are the same as his college. So that's good to see. That's what you want to see. I knew this was coming. But as far as Ishkakov, could he come after the German league? He could. Could he play Bridgeport right now? I think he could. But it depends on what the Islanders have in store with him. I don't know if he was on that 4-year commitment and they're not coming until after year 4. It's an Islander decision. But do I think he can play in Bridgeport? Yeah, I think he can. I hate you, Parisi. Okay. Yes, I've heard it. I heard of the rumor, and I hate giving my friends credit because we've been friends for so long. Anyone doesn't matter. When you've been friends with for people so long, you hate just giving them credit. That's the bonding of our friendship. Joe Panettiere and Joe, I'm going to give full credits to Joe here. He thought Parisi was coming to this team 3 years ago. And he just threw out that idea with me. And I got to tell you, I honestly thought Parisi was going to be an Islander a year or 2 ago. I really did. I'm not against it. Parisi had a 1-year $1 million contract. For now, Parisi with Pageau and Palmieri, the 3P line, yes. Okay. I would take Parisi over Ruslan Ishkakov or Michael Dal-Colle. Simple. That would absolutely end that debate wholeheartedly. Zach Parisi on a 1-year $1 million deal? Sure. Absolutely. And then, you go from year. But again, you don't want to hinder Kiefer Bellows. If Kiefer Bellows is still on this team after the draft, and I still think either he becomes the extra forward, or there's a way he pulls like a Devon Toews and he goes down to Bridgeport. You don't want to lose Kiefer Bellows because we'll talk about Kiefer in a couple of weeks. There's still some development with him, but for a 1-year deal, Zach Parisi, yes, please. I will buy his jersey. I will, just for nostalgia's sake. I will buy his jersey. Kevin Ryan, who are your 5 keepers? Again, I just did them. Pageau, Nelson, Barzell, Beauvillier, Bailey, and you know what? I am going to go Jordan Eberle. I'm going to keep them for now. I think Lou has something else up his sleeve, guys. I really do. But I will say this. If Jordan Eberle is exposed, I think we're going to see someone else other than Wahlstrom and Palmieri on this team. I think there's something more going on in that respect. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Toby, I just answered that. That's okay with Zach Parisi. Like I said, 1 year, that's fine. He still did all right last year, and you're not asking him to score 40 goals, 30 goals, or even 20 goals. You're asking him to play the system. Any possibility on Tarasenko or just another player that would take the kid's spot? I honestly, I think it's nice publicity that players have mentioned, like Kessel and Tarasenko have mentioned the Islanders as a destination. But in all honesty, from what I've learned, that's like their agent just building them up, building up the hype. And Islander fans know what they're getting out of Kessel, they're getting out of Tarasenko. And I think that's just the Islander, not the Islander, that's the agent trying to buff up their players. I don't see Tarasenko or Phil Kessel coming unless, like I said, some by major miracle Lou can really work the cap on that one, but I think that's going to be very difficult. I think this offseason is going to be a complete win if we're able to get everybody back. And I think Lou can do that. And I actually put up a tweet about how he might be able to do it. God, I hope this is a joke, Cutler. I really do. Would you move 2 first rounders in 22 and 23 to offload last contract on a rebuilding team? Why are the Islanders rebuilding? They're not rebuilding. They're going for the Stanley Cup. Here's the problem with Andrew Ladd's contract, guys. Okay. This is why he can't go anywhere. He still has another $3 million signing bonus in July of 2022. $3 million signing bonus. $3 million signing bonus. He's not going anywhere. No one's paying him. That's why I believe during the media press with Lou Lamoriello, they had asked rightly, what about Andrew Ladd? Lou basically came out and said he's healthy. So that means no LTIR. Probably sent on waivers, because I don't see Andrew Ladd playing another game in an Islander uniform unless it's absolutely necessary. And even at that point, I don't think that's going to happen. So that's why Andrew Ladd pretty much is not going anywhere. No one's going to want to pay that $3 million bonus. Golechev, great question. Is Golechev, is he an option? I think he is. And you got to remember who's bringing him over now. It's Lou. He's played enough games in the KHL. It's like I said, he reminds me of an older version of Anthony Beauvillier. I'm not expecting 20 goals out of him, but would he fit a third line with Pageau and Palmieri? Yeah. And again, I believe he's already been here, guys. He's been in here practicing with the team, getting accustomed to everything. Could he? Sure. But Golechev has also said he has no problem going down to Bridgeport this season. And we're only talking 1 year. I don't know if he's going to be here after that. So could he be that role player? Sure. Could he be down in Bridgeport for the entire season and then come up and possibly play in the playoffs? Sure. But it's the fact that Lou brought him over that means a little bit more these days. So if he's coming over, that means the Islanders feel he's ready to play. Where that is exactly, we'll find out at some point. But yeah, I think Golechev is absolutely an option. Yes, Brian. Yeah, good one here. Ladd and Hickey can play in Bridgeport. Yeah, that's exactly where it is. Even if Ladd clears waivers and he just practices with the Islanders from here on out, he can do that. Hickey, I don't know what they're going to do with Hickey. If Hickey can still play, and I don't know if it's more emotional than physical at this point, I would love to see Thomas Hickey finish his career as the captain of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. The Bridgeport Islanders. I would love to see that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's up with Thomas Hickey. Do I see him playing in another Islander uniform? I don't know. He still looked good with Wahlstrom. Not Wahlstrom. With Mayfield. That was always a good pair. So, yeah. Ladd, I'm not sure. Yeah, no one's going to trade for him. What do we got here? Does Wahlstrom play in Bridgeport next year? Well, look, that's really going to depend now on the expansion draft. If the Islanders do in fact put Eberle down, I could see the Islanders moving Palmieri up, and you could still bring in Parise, and you have Parise, Pageau, and Wahlstrom. Do the Islanders really want to do that? To be honest with you, I haven't heard anything about Eberle being exposed to the waiver wire. I know there's a couple of people that want to do it, and rightfully so. They're trying to clear up the cap space. But I think for me right now, and we'll get into Bridgeport, we'll get into the Bridgeport players in a little while, in another week or two. There's no one in Bridgeport right now who I feel can step in next season and play for the Islanders, even for a cup of coffee. Maybe some of the defensemen, Wotherspoon, Hutton, Van Soppel, if you're maybe. But in terms of the forwards, guys, I don't see anybody. So it would be nice to have that backup for Wahlstrom, at least at the beginning of the season. Because you got to remember that Eberle contract, it's a long contract. So it's going to be difficult to move. But maybe a team like Seattle or Ottawa, maybe they take someone like that. But for right now, guys, I haven't really heard anything substantial that Eberle is coming off the team. So that's why I said, at least for the beginning of the season, Wahlstrom could be down in the minors. But again, I tried to emphasize this on last week's show. It's not how the Islanders start the season. It's how they finish. Could I see Oliver Wahlstrom up and playing in the playoffs next season for the Islanders while still starting the season in Bridgeport? Absolutely. Okay. Could some of these forwards get injured over an 82-game season? Yeah, I'm almost counting on it. We haven't had an 82-game season in almost 3 years now. Think about that. We haven't had an 82-game season in almost 3 years, and the Islanders are just basically jumping back on the horse in another month or two. So is it good to have the depth? Absolutely. I think you need it. And if any of these guys get injured, they go immediately on the LTIR. You bring up Wahlstrom and look out. Same thing with Bellows. I could see Bellows being the extra forward this year. And there will come a time, very shortly, I might add. I think by the second half of the season, I think you're going to see the Islanders run the kids, and they're going to tear everybody up. I could see that, but they don't have to do it at the beginning of the season. All they got to do is pace themselves to get themselves started. So that's my only mentality with Wahlstrom. Do I think he's good enough for the NHL? Yeah. Does he need to get a little more consistency? That's definitely it. I definitely think he needs to get a little more consistency. What line does Wahlstrom play on? I'm going to say for right now the third line. He loves playing with Pageau. That's fairly easy. Varley staying? Yes. Here we go. Bolduc, big capital letters, Hystro. No, Bolduc is still 2 years away. And that's already confirmed by a couple of scouts. I swear on my grandmother. Same thing with Bodie Wild. And again, in a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about Bridgeport. We're going to get into that. And, they're getting better, but there's still some work to be done. No question. Look, you guys are not wrong. Okay. Wahlstrom needs to play on the top team, not the minors. Again, I agree. Where are you putting him? Where are you moving him to? Who are you getting rid of? Okay. You're very, this franchise, all the franchises, they're strapped. They're strapped. And I can tell you right now, after you just watched this show, there's not a lot of teams right now that are willing to trade their draft picks in 2022. They're not. And they know Eberle is a streaky scorer. What are they going to get him for? Okay. You guys are not wrong, and I'm not here to pick a fight. Do I think Wahlstrom at this point could start the season in the NHL? Yes. But due to the depth of this team and the cap structure that is already there, building a little more consistency out of Wahlstrom for maybe even the first month will do him good, and it'll benefit the Islanders long term. Look, you got to remember something. The Islanders went to the conference finals without Oliver Wahlstrom. Bottom line, do they need him in October? No. Do they need him in November? Probably not. Okay, are they going to need him in, say, March, April, May? You bet. No question. No question. Okay, but when a team just goes to their second straight Eastern Conference Finals without Oliver Wahlstrom, you don't need him in the beginning of October. You guys do. The Islanders don't. And that's a benefit. It's a good problem to have. Right. I like this one. Cut bait with Dal Cole. I think so. Even if they sign him, even if they extend him, send him, put him through waivers. See what happens that way. Maybe he goes down to Bridgeport and you can do some damage there. Yeah. Brian, I love this one. Let's not assume we're guaranteed a playoff spot. The Islanders in short seasons the last 2 years fell apart in the second half 2 years ago, 1929. That's right. All of this is true. From the last to the playoff spots, let's make a good team as possible for 82 games. I agree. But why unleash the kids and tire them out early? When was the last time Wahlstrom played 50 games in a season? He hasn't. You're going to put Wahlstrom in now full 82 games? No. And again, I'm you guys know me now for like the last. You guys have known me for so long now. I have been barking up the tree for a third line. I think we're going to be there with Pageau and we're going to be there with Palmieri. Okay, if you guys want to replace Oliver Wahlstrom with Jordan Eberle, God love you. Okay, you got to hope Wahlstrom racks up 30 or 35 goals because Eberle's been good for 26. So what's it going to get you? An extra 10 goals. Okay, but hear me out. You had Leo Komarov, JG Pageau, and Michael Dal Colle as your third line for a good portion of last year. You bring in Kyle Palmieri, JG Pageau, and Zach Parise, you're automatically adding 20 to 30 goals next season without bringing in Wahlstrom. Okay? Now, hear me out again. The following season, there's only one winger I see basically leaving at this point. It could be Parise, but it could be Palmieri. I'm sorry, not Palmieri. Clutterbuck. If Clutterbuck goes, then you bring up Wahlstrom. You're not going to have Wahlstrom play on the fourth line. You're going to bring Palmieri down to the third line. You're going to bring Palmieri down to the fourth line. And then you can put Wahlstrom anywhere you want. So you're essentially replacing Wahlstrom with Clutterbuck over that full season. So instead of getting 7 to 10 goals from Clutterbuck, you're going to get 30 out of Wahlstrom. It's another 20-goal increase. And if Bellows gets his shot, and let's just say Zach Parise scores 10 to 15 goals, I think within 2 years, Kiefer Bellows is going to rack you 10 to 15 goals, if not more, in the NHL. Do you understand where I'm coming from here, guys? I agree with you. The kids are going to be here. I think you're going to have to wait just a little bit longer. Yes, do the Islanders have to get younger? There's no question about it. You're not going to get an argument from me on that one. But from someone who follows the development process and whatnot, having the depth in the minors, bringing them up later on for a playoff run makes the most sense to me. And then it's all hell on earth. I don't think anyone's going to stop the Islanders. Because even with Parise and Palmieri on this team, you're running all four lines at will. Barry Trotz won't have to do anything. These guys already know the system. And then you got Sorokin and Varlamov back there. My God. Honestly, guys, Pittsburgh doesn't frighten me. Washington does not frighten me. Philadelphia doesn't frighten me. New Jersey doesn't frighten me. Carolina, I have to see what they're doing right now. The Rangers are going to be a good one. But there's enough here right now to make a run at least at the division or at least home ice advantage. Brian, I agree with you. The vets are the ones who seem to get tired on this team, rightfully so. Then you bring the kids in. As long as the vets are winning, Lou's not going to do anything to hamper that winning. Then you bring in the kids. But again, when you bring up the kids at some point this coming season, let the leash off. Let them go. They'll be ready. Absolutely. You guys are not wrong. Bellows plays no defense. I think that's what they've been working on. I think that's why he was staying on the team. I think that's why he didn't go down to Bridgeport. I think they've been working on his defensive game, Strom. You're not wrong on that. And we'll go into Bridgeport a little later on next week. I know you guys are busting here on Bellows, but you got to remember, Barry Trotz was very ecstatic to know that Kiefer Bellows was not traded at the trade deadline. Let's make sure we remember that. Trotz really has something for Bellows, and it might be his potential. I think he will get there. So, you run a third line first. Please, get me a third line. I'll shut up if the Islanders actually get a third line. You're going to get more goals from the third line than you would Wahlstrom replacing Eberle. You would. There's no doubt about it. Parise over Komarov. Palmieri over Michael Del Cole. It's a no-brainer. Okay. Teams who have soured on Bodie Wild. Not yet. Not yet, Cutler. Interest has certainly gone down. I will say that now. Interest has gone down, but they are still looking at Bodie Wild. Bodie Wild and Samuel Bolduc both have 2 years left on their ELCs. So they're in Bridgeport. They're going to play as many games as possible. And me personally, I would love to see them paired together. And then when they're both ready, have them both play on the Islanders on that same pair. That's something I would love to see. And I think if you can get them together, you could see something like Pulock and Pelech. I really do. Not the expectations, but you understand the chemistry there. Them working together, you're going to have that chemistry coming up to the NHL. So, yes, you're going to get the scoring. You're going to get the scoring if you don't have Leo Komarov and Michael Del Cole playing every day. Yes, you're going to get it. Either way. But the real question is, and none of you are wrong. You're not wrong. The question is now, will Lou and Barry send Wahlstrom down for the consistency? Or has Wahlstrom earned their trust enough to bring him up playing now? That's the debate. That's the debate we're all having with ourselves. And this is a healthy debate. Everyone's right in this case. My third line is a good case. We still need a third line. Bringing up Wahlstrom to lower the cap space and continue the scoring is also a good case. The question is, what does Lou and Barry want to do to develop Wahlstrom's 200-foot game at a consistent level? What do they want to do? What are they going to do? Yes, it's a great problem. This is a great problem to have. And again, you guys are not wrong. We have a different point of view. That's perfect. That's fine. I love these debates. I love these healthy debates. And I will never put you guys down. Never. No, because you guys are right. Your opinions are absolutely correct. So, it's a good, healthy debate. Third line or Oliver Wahlstrom? Maybe Lou can fix both. We'll see what happens. The cap is going to definitely be the question here. So, all right. So coming up next week, here's the thing, guys. I'm going to be on Long Island next week. I have a little family thing I have to go to Wednesday night in New Hyde Park at around 6:30. I don't know how long I'm going to be there. One of my childhood friends' mothers passed away. She was like a mother to me. We're doing a little celebration of her life. So I don't know if I'm going to be available Wednesday night. I am going to be on Long Island Tuesday morning, all day Tuesday. I know I'm spending some time with Gary. I don't know when. I'll let you guys know. And Thursday, I could probably do a show either Tuesday or Thursday. At some point, we'll cover the Bridgeport Sound Tigers and the other professional guys over in Europe. Don't worry about Thompson. That's still in debate. Once I get info, I'll let you know, Cutler. So I will be on Long Island. If I'm not doing anything, if you guys want to meet up, I plan on staying at the Marriott. I plan on staying at the Marriott. If you guys want to go to like a local bar, maybe Tuesday night, we could do that. We can all hook up. I'll let you know. Um, Pick a place. I'll find it. We can talk Islanders hockey. We can do a show without the show. So, we'll go from there. But as far as this draft goes, this is going to be a very interesting draft. I'm loving this draft, and I'm excited for next year's draft as well. I like the players that we have so far in the system. Bridgeport is going to be the next one that we're going to cover, probably either next week or the week after, and we'll go from there. But I do like some of the promise in the kids. They're making the right steps. They're small steps. I'm not expecting anything major from them just yet. But I think after this full season, I think you're going to see a better turnaround from Bridgeport. So, we'll see what happens. And, again, with the farm system, it's valid for now. I need to see. A lot of these kids have not played a full season in Bridgeport. Let's see what we can do. But we can talk about that next week, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys coming on once again. For those of you who want to follow Isles Talk, just follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Isles Talk YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at P_Kreischer. Don't follow me on Facebook. Facebook's my personal page, guys. Unless we've been friends for a while, I don't have any Islander friends on my personal page. It's mostly for connecting my family because we're so scattered. So thanks for coming, guys. You guys have been great. I love these healthy debates. Again, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Great points, as always. I like it. Hopefully we'll get to meet up sometime next week. I'll let you guys know. So thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back sometime next week. I'll give you all the details later then. And yes, Bridgeport will probably be a full hour, and I'm sure we'll have a few more healthy debates going there. And I'm sure some of you are ready to already rip into Simon Holmstrom. But mind you, he's got 3 more years left on his entry-level contract. So relax on Simon for now. I'll give you my opinion on him next week. How to follow? Just follow Isles Talk again on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and you can follow me on Twitter at P_Kreischer. Just that name below. Okay? Talk to you guys next week. Let's go Islanders, and you guys have a good rest of the week.